And I've been doing this, fortunately, for about 30 years.
Have you gone through experiences where you had to take a completely different path, and when your competition is moving in one direction, you had to take another direction because you believed in it and you took big bets? What were the lessons learned in that process?
So for myself, I manage my inventory very carefully. And in 2008, going into 2007, I started seeing my turns slow down. Then I asked my partners, more or less, how's the inventory in general looking out there? And they said, it's getting a little soft. I caught on really quickly that there was a problem. So it was that intuition and the capability of finding something isn't right sooner than later. And I did. I backed down my inventory as quickly as I can. I had a lot more people working for me. I did have about 40 some odd folks that were working for me. It was very painful, and I started eliminating positions. Redundant positions that I didn't need, and I did it really quickly. It was an unpopular decision that I made at the time because I was Dr. Death Dave. That's what they were calling me. And it was decisions that I needed to make. And I wanted to make those decisions before the company made those decisions for me. So I tried to lead by that example and pull the lever about a year in advance. I think the faster you could kind of foresee an issue, you could respond to it without panicking.
Yeah, in front of it, yeah.
In front of it, and all the while being extremely confident and not showing fear. Although you may have fear within yourself, you never show that fear to your team, really to anybody. You keep that to bed, you keep that to yourself, fear. And you just work on strategies, because once you get different emotions, emotions won't solve your issues. Strategies, clear thinking, logic will make those things work. Now, I'm not saying your inner feelings of intuition, that you always get that little gut feeling, doesn't count. That counts just as much as the best book you could read of how to do something. But once you get that gut, clean out the mind of the fear factor, like, oh my God, what am I? No, that's not going to solve a problem asking, worrying about it. Put that energy to use. Put that energy into solving the problems at hand. And that's really one of my biggest strategies. And that's why we came out of this recession, depression in the marine business. Awful depression, it was. But we came out fast and sharp, and our customers never saw that panic. They never felt that every time I had to spend an extra $1 on goodwill on that boat, I had a face inside. I was like, oh God, I could have used that $5 grand on something else. Yeah. But I'm making you happy, and I'm investing in my future with one customer.
Excellent.
That's really good stuff. And when you think about the uncertainty in the world, like if you go back to 09 or 01, and you're obviously around for that too, how did you think about your buying decisions, your strategy on getting to market when you know you're in a recession? Are there certain buyer groups that kind of just have more resiliency than others, or is it more of a batten down the hatches and just try to ride it out?
In 09, it was literally just hanging on to your shorts.
Yeah.
It was trying to clean up our ledger, our P&L, clean it up, turn our boats into cash, and the prospects that we were selling to were not very nice folks.
Looking for the deal, looking to rob it.
They were sharks.
Yeah.
And they earned the right to get that deal. I never begrudged anyone wanting the great deal. We all want the great deal.
Yeah.
But it got to a point where the great deal wasn't enough. So you gave the shirt off your back.
Yeah.
And you serviced them to the nines, regardless of if they bought the boat for 15, 20% below what I paid for it.
Wow.
Just to get that piece of inventory off our books, get it off a floor plan, clean our house, and that's all we were looking to do, is clean the house. We didn't know where the floor was, even when we're taking boats on trade.
Yeah. What's the market?
It's like New York Stock Exchange. You have a commodity or a stock, you don't have a player, someone bidding that stock up, you don't have a player buying it,
sure.
It's a free fall.
Yeah, yeah.
Same thing, we're buying trades. We didn't have a friggin' clue. We had a generalization of going, God, this is getting to the point of ridiculousness.
Yeah, yeah. Doesn't make sense to even be open if that's what you're going to do.
Right.
Did you find that when you look at the sharks that you referred to, did they at least bring a payback in the form of future business or at least service on these boats? Like, was there any...
Some.
Where do you see this industry, 10 years from now? You've seen the prior 30. Any sense for where it's going and how you think you're going to position yourself to win there?
I think it's still going to change some more. I got a feeling that it's going to turn into servicing of the product is always going to need to be there, right? So you could still not have a, quote, factory direct outlet. That model won't work.
Okay.
Unless you have the backing and the expertise of people on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do, like, what car manufacturer is that? Tesla.
Yeah.
Factory direct. It's very simple to put a car manufacturer with that thing. You put a very inexpensive car out on the road today, put fuel in it, and it will get you across to California without a hiccup. And that's the cheapest car for 10 grand. It's going to get you there. With a boat, you can spend 10 grand, 10,000, 100,000, a million, 10 million. It's a boat in salt water, heavy-duty environment, a lot going on, a lot of moving parts, not made by robots. Human beings putting these things together. Human beings create human errors, etc. Regardless of how tight that quality control is, you're going to need to rely on a dealer. But you asked me a question, where we're going to be in 10 years?
Yeah.
The possibilities, being owned by a larger corporation, and then having some transparency where that larger corporation could work its way through us as retail, and then we just become a distribution center for the bigger manufacturer.
So you see more consolidation than...
I can see that. You know what, I can see Brunswick acquiring, this is just big, but I could see, say, Brunswick acquiring MarineMax. MarineMax is the leading pioneer in marine recreational pleasure boating. The biggest distribution center, biggest service center, part center. We're a very, very big operation. You know, Brunswick could just acquire, say, MarineMax and funnel that process right through, and they could kind of do a Lean Six Sigma approach themselves and clean up what they see as some hiccups, and really streamline the process, make bigger money for the company, bigger for Brunswick, maybe better for the consumer. In order to be successful in sales in marine business, you need to want to make a difference in the prospect's life. If I'm here just to sell you something, that's very transparent these days. You see car sales guys, you see electronic salespeople, all sorts of salespeople. You just sense that they want to sell you. Just pick anything here. It's all fine and dandy. In a marine application of how we try to sell is consultant-based selling.
Yeah.
You want to get to know your needs and wants and what's really important to that individual, and then zero in on it. And it's not a matter of selling something new and really big and expensive. They could be saying, no, you don't want to invest $500,000 in a boat today. Let's look at something that's maybe $100,000 or even less. But let's try to get your feet wet. Let's get you very familiar with the process of boating. And we hold our hand from cradle to grave. If I'm always chasing profits, I'm not doing my job properly.